welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Vintage at the request of Patreon subscriber John, and this is his take on Simic Atraxa Oath. Oath is, historically, or at least in recent history, the last couple of years, it has been a bug deck. The black gives you access to cards like Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor if you're nasty, removal in the sideboard like Abrupt Decay, or Long Goodbye. Cutting the black is not a new idea. I played a deck on the channel a few months ago that had cut the black cards entirely and instead maxed out on 4 copies of the One Ring. The One Ring, of course, being a card that, if it resolves, the game is now about the One Ring, and you better either remove it or win very quickly, or you will get buried by it. And that video came out just before Aetherdrift was released. Relisted? Was it listed once before? Was released, which gave us Stock Up. And John has taken a version of that Simic One Ring Oath deck, cut the One Rings, and replaced them all with Stock Ups. Stock Up is, when compared 1-to-1 with the One Ring. The pros and cons list. Pros, it is blue. Ups your blue count for the 6 forces across the 75. It sees the first 2 cards cheaper and quicker than the One Ring does. The One Ring costs 4 mana to see 1 singular card, and then a turn later, you get to see 2 cards. So after 4 mana and a full turn cycle, you have drawn 3 cards at random with the One Ring. Stock Up costs a mana less, and you look at 5 cards immediately and get 2 right away. So the card advantage is a turn ahead of the One Ring, and the card selection is 3 turns ahead of the One Ring. And the cool thing about Vintage is games don't go that long. So there's a good possibility that Stock Up is actually better than the One Ring in a situation like this. The One Ring also is an artifact, and Null Rod is not only a card that we need for some of our worst matchups, but is a card that many other decks will have. Consigned to Memory is a card that blue decks can have access to, and Oath of Druids is also a triggered ability that Consigned counters, so layering the One Ring on top of Oath of Druids gives an opponent more reasons to bring in Consign. Your Atraxa is also a trigger. The body will stay, but you won't draw all the cards, and then you're just a Swords to Plowshares or a Krakus away from being in the dirt. The cons, that third turn, if the game does go that long, the One Ring vastly outpaces anything Stock Up will do. Like, not only have you seen more cards at that point, but you've kept all of them. The One Ring's protection for the turn cycle is, of course, worth something. Stock Up won't create a board state for you where you ring into another ring, and basically time walk your opponent 3 times, and your deck contains the actual card Time Walk. So even if you had drawn an actual Time Walk while you were in the middle of ring time walking, then you get to actually Time Walk, draw 3 additional cards, and then go back into the ring. The ceiling on the One Ring as an object to solo a game is much higher than Stock Up. But getting more blue cards in the deck, instantaneous payoff for your mana investment, all very exciting when we are trying to assemble an AB combo. The AB could be Oath of Druids plus Forbidden Orchard, and that can just be an A if your opponent has provided creatures for you and you don't need the Orchard to give them one. There's also Show and Tell plus Atraxa is an AB, and then there is Tinker plus any artifact you could sacrifice. A pretty easy B to come up with, but there's only one A in that particular AB package. Oko can also be the B to Oath's A. You elk one of your opponent's random Moxen, now they have a creature, and Oath will start triggering. And what's really cool about these Simic builds is you're not competing with the same card quality that you are. Like, that's how the Magic the Gathering mana system works. As you add colors, your spells get harder to cast, theoretically, but they also get theoretically more powerful because you have access to more colors worth of options. Gaia's Blessing is always like the 61st to 63rd card I would like to play when I'm playing Bug Oath, but it's a slam dunk in Simic Oath. When you mill this over, you shuffle your graveyard into your library. That's important because when Oath triggers, it mills you until you hit a creature, and there's only 4 creatures in the deck. If you've drawn one, or you've pitched one to force, or your opponent already answered one, now there's only 3 creatures in your deck. And one of the ways that Oath loses sometimes is, what if Atraxa is just in the bottom 3 cards of the deck? Or what if you run out of Atraxas? And Gaia's Blessing shuffles in the other cards on the way to Atraxa. And you can get into these really cool end games where you are fearlessly oathing, triggering Oath every turn, even though you already have Atraxa into play. You don't mind legend ruling the second one because Gaia's Blessing's in there somewhere to reset the whole deck. And that just keeps the cards flowing forever. I remember enjoying the One Ring Simic version of Oath, and I'm excited to try the stock up version. I am still searching for the deck I'm going to play for the NYSE Open and for the Steel City Spectacular 2 vintage events to win a Black Lotus coming up this summer. The links to all of those are in my video descriptions and have been for months. Get on that if you haven't yet. Let's get into it. This is Atraxa Oath with Stock Up. The 9th installment of the NYSE Vintage Open Series is coming. This 15 proxy vintage tournament with Power 9 prizes takes place on Saturday, June 14th, 2025 in Long Island, New York, and has a $500 entry fee. That's a hefty entry, but the guaranteed prizes for top 8 are unlimited Black Lotus, Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. The NYSE Open 8 went well for me last year. Someone better come stop me from getting another Lotus. Will it be you? I'll be at the NYSE Open 9 on June 14th, and I hope to see you there. Register on melee.gg or use the link in the video description. I am on the draw in round 1. My opponent has not revealed Lurrus. They have mauled to 6. A Mox sets this hand off, and Atraxa sets this hand off. I am going to keep. No Lurrus, maul to 6. I'm kind of smelling Bazaar already. Could be a shops list. If they are white initiative, I'm quite happy with a slower Oath hand, because white initiative is very bad versus the card Oath of Druids. Just if it ever resolves and you're not dead on board, you're going to win. Volcanic Island. Okay. I was not expecting that off of a bad beat like this. Oh, okay. Now we get to know. Show me your secrets. What is this deck? What did you keep? 2 Mox and Brainstorm. Force of Negation. I believe there is a Hedge Maze in this list. There is indeed. So I'm going to play Misty Rainforest and Path. Knowing that we have to navigate a force makes my hand a little worse, but knowing they have to pitch their only spell to cast that force makes it a lot better. Ruby, Pearl. So a red deck that does not have Lurrus. Hull Breacher is a reason to not have Lurrus in your deck. Deck Faden, perhaps. Ooh. Well, if they pitch the force, this doesn't matter. I'm going to put Flusterstorm in my graveyard. Now I have the option of trying to resolve Oath, but I know it's not going to resolve, so I'm not going to use my Forbidden Orchard. If they lose their Brainstorm to counter this, that's great. If they... Okay, they're brainstorming in response to it. If they decide that they could play the game just without playing a creature, I can punish that by giving them a creature next turn. Just knowing that they could counter it if they want to makes me nervous about starting to give them beaters. Okay, the Oath is in. Now we'll see if I'm dead. As they could just tinker. They could breach of some kind. All right, now they're showing up Hardcast Force of Negation. And here's the Forbidden Orchard. It's not that I didn't have it, it's that I didn't want to use it. And I could try to stick Oko here. I know they would force it. Is that worth doing? I think it is. Let's start getting cards out of their hand, since I have this sub-game going anyway. Yeah, they can just cast Force of Negation here, but that's fine. It's a card they don't have. Right, that's gone, and now I have to hope they don't draw Tinker or Paradoxical Outcome or whatever it is they're looking for. Cool, they're dead. Obviously, the Mulligan helped us out there. I'm going to choose to read this as some sort of Hull Breacher Breach deck. Underworld Breach combo with the card Hull Breacher. They probably have a Tinker package. I'm recording this before I've fully dialed in on my NYSE testing. It's mid-May when I'm recording this, even though you're going to see this like the week of NYSE, maybe the week before. So it's going to feel a lot more desperate. But I haven't dug in all the way on knowing exactly what all the nuances of the vintage metagame are. Like, my read right now is this is some sort of Underworld Breach combo that has Hull Breach or Tinker to disqualify Luris. But that might not even be true. There might be some very obvious other deck that this is. Okay, Null Rod, if they are any sort of combo strategy, Null Rod's good, but I'm also a combo strategy where Null Rod is good against me. I think Narset and Force of Negation are where I want to be. But are there any cuts here I'd be happy to make? My basic island I probably don't need. If it was a Luris deck, I would suspect Wasteland at least a little bit, but I don't know that I do suspect that. I could cut top. It's a little slow if I think this is a combo matchup, and it's not a blue card, and I still have stock ups to dig. Okay, I will try it like this. There's more I could do. I have Consigned to Memories. I have Null Rods. I have Nature's Claims, but I didn't really see that much of their deck. Okay, turn 1 stock up or turn 1 Oath. I will keep this hand. A lot of power 9 in here. And if stock up hits a mana source, a Mox, then I can stock up and Oath this turn. I'm 1 colorless mana short of Oathing right now. They mull to 5 again. Tropical Island. Okay, interesting. Are we some Ren and 6 deck? Is this Rug Oath? Did I get tricked into a mirror match somehow? Narset. That's juicy. I'm going to play Mox Pearl. Soul Ring. I'm going to save the Emerald. Get Trop, play stock up. Ancestral Recall, and a bunch of lands. The lands do include Forbidden Orchard, though, so I'll take Ancestral and Orchard. Kind of a tough whiff on 6 forces there. Would have liked at least 1 in the mix. And I think I want to sandbag this Mox Emerald. Like, they might Time Twister, but like if they collect a roof, I'd rather have a card in my hand. Oko. Alright. I'm familiar with that card. It's probably going to elk my Soul Ring. Alright, they're making foods. That's fine. My own Oko. Okay, so here's a cool turn. I could play Narset. If they fight over it, follow it up with Oath of Druids. They have 2 cards left in their hand. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna, air quotes, tap out here for Narset. Narset, I mean, she's under some pressure because they can make their food. I could just play Emerald now. Leave Narset on 5. They could only put 4 damage on her. They'd have to elk one of my permanents to stop Oath from triggering. Oath. Okay. I am going to stop here. I'm going to leave Narset on 5. That will hopefully cut off some percentage of their deck. If they just Nature's Claim my Oath and attack Narset down, she's still in play for a turn. I have Ancestral plus Oko to continue gaming. Okay, they put bug colors into the mana pool and then change their mind. Okay, Food Elk is awake. That means they're not trying to stop Oath from triggering, which might mean they have another answer to it. Might mean they have no answer to any of this. Maybe they're going to cast something like Leovold here. Show and Tell. Nasty. Alright, so this is some sort of Oath Mirror. I have nothing to put in. Alright, I was tricked into an Oath Mirror. We've got Show and Tell, Pyroblast, Black Lotus. So they can Pyroblast my Atraxa in response to her trigger. Buy some time. They can Pyroblast Narset. This is not a very good spread, though. They basically take Black Lotus, Flusterstorm, stock up. Oh yeah, if they take Fluster, they can't take Pyro. I think they need Pyroblast to function. They took Lotus, stock up, Pyroblast. Yep, okay. And Volcanic Island. Alright, there's Black Lotus. Stocking up. Pyroblast and 3 unknowns, 2 of which were just selected out of top 5 here. So the best card in my deck right now is Time Walk. Alright, here we go. Yes, I'd like to use the ability. There's an Atraxa. My Time Walk was not milled over. My Tinker and my Citadel were. They'll probably Pyroblast Atraxa right now. And I will Ancestral in response. Do I need to do this? What does this do? Like, if I Ancestral in response, I could force, but then they could just elk my Atraxa, and I can elk their Atraxa. You know what? Atraxa's dead. I don't even care. You got her. Okay, Atraxa trigger. Time Walk, we found it. Best card in the deck. Time Walk is always the best card in Oath. Let's be serious. Time Walk, Ruby, Force of Negation, Tropical Island. Yeah, sounds good. Done. Draw for turn. As long as I don't draw my Gaia's Blessing right now, we should be in good shape. And even that's not really devastating. It's just like kind of annoying. Oh, I'm holding my brainstorm. It's not even annoying. Give me the Guy's Blessing. I don't give a shit. Okay, Mox. The Rug Oath with Pyroblast. Is that a response to the stock up metagame? I don't think stock oath is on red right now. Like my opponent is in the lab a little bit here. I am at least that aware of what's going on. Well, Island, Mox Jet. Oath is always in my wheelhouse, by the way. People who are trying to metagame the NYSE Open recognize that this could always happen to you. Okay, Time Walk first. I can protect it with Force of Negation on the hard cast here. By the way, if you actually want to metagame me at the NYSE Open, you can join my Patreon. I always post my list before tournaments. I posted my list before last year's NYSE, and then I won. You could have had that list. Why didn't you? Okay. Going into the Time Walk turn, Gaia's Blessing getting Time Walk back in the mix, now a huge deal. Them having the Force there did cost me the Oko that I would have liked to play that turn. It tracks a hit pretty quick. There's Gaia's Blessing. I don't want it in my hand. I want it in my deck. So Force of Will. I will take Oath. It's just material, and I have Brainstorm. There we go. This is a solid spread of cards. And now I know Gaia's Blessing is somewhere at the bottom of my deck, so I can Oath with Reckless Abandon. But if I fetch, it won't be there anymore. If I fetch and hit it with Hedge Maze, just the RNG Hedge Maze spinning Gaia's Blessing, that would be so sweet. Basically, Gaia's Blessing represents infinite Time Walks, which is what my deck wants to be doing. Per our discussion last turn about Time Walk being my best card. All right, I could Oko. I could Ancestral Recall. If we elk each other's Atraxas, they have elk advantage, but I'm still oathing pretty hard. All right, I'll play my land, and I'm not going to fetch just yet. Blue, green, colorless, Oko. They worked really hard for my for their Atraxa. Mine are just rolling off the top for freezies. Elk this shit. And do I want to Ancestral here? Show and Tell could hit another Atraxa. Sure, I'd like to draw 3 cards. Well, I know the getting's good. I guess they could have Misstep as their 1 card in hand, but it'll be worse if they get access to more stuff. All right, I will fetch a Tropical Island. I believe there's 1 left. Let me make sure 1 didn't get milled over. Nope, we're good. All right, this mixes up the Gaia's Blessing. Could be anywhere now. But that's okay. Play this. Backup Oath. I can Oath multiple times because they have 4 creatures. And I'm still holding up Force Blue card. Or I could Beseiju something in an emergency. All right, they got 2 cards and an active Oko to beat Narset, Atraxa, double Oath. Stock up. I don't think this is where I want to put my 1 piece of interaction. Yeah, being able to trigger and resolve Oath twice in a turn, and it being not only okay, but smart, rules insanely hard. And that's made possible by Gaia's Blessing. I would rarely do that if I only had 4 Atraxas to play with. But I have infinity, which is a bigger number than 4 for the math experts out there. And they're not happy with their stock up. GG. It's a little dangerous not knowing you're in an Oath mirror. My opponent did a good job hiding information, because if I knew it was a mirror, I would have boarded very differently, probably shaved down to 1 or 2 Oaths instead of the full 4 and trying to send it. Because if you play Oath and they play Forbidden Orchard, you lose. Like, all of our enablers, the Show and Tells, the Oaths, they both put in both of our Atraxas. And my opponent had strategic advantage knowing that that was the case versus me who didn't. But still, I just had a better vintage hand than they did, and they mulled to 5. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2. I have Black Lotus, obviously a powerful card. I could just play like Sensei's Top plus Oko and see what happens. My opponent did not reveal Alaris. I am going to keep this. If I knew for sure it was white initiative, I would just run Oath out there and bet. But I don't know that for sure. Like if they're Dredge, I don't know that hanging a raw Oath out there is going to do much. I mean, a raw Oko out there isn't going to do much either. I could also play Oath and top with my Lotus and pass with Misty Rainforest available. That could be a top spin or a hedge maze. And with the flash and show and tell in my hand, just finding a Traxa at any point is pretty sweet. Okay, opponent's on a Mull to 6. I'm going to cast Black Lotus first. And I'm going to fetch for my Tropical Island. I'm going to go with the Oko line. Drop, green, blue, blue, blue. Or should I play top first? Doesn't matter. Playing Oko first plays around Mindbreak Trap, which if they're a Bazaar deck, they might actually have in the main. Okay, Oko's in. Top has also resolved. I'll make a food and pass. Okay, I have some stuff going on. We'll see what they are and how worried about it they are. If this is white initiative, I don't mind my spot. It is white initiative, okay. They played a land tapped. That's very exciting. I will spin top in my upkeep. Them not putting me under pressure immediately gives me a lot of room to play. A Mox Pearl is the draw that I want to draw. Stock Up versus Tinker is honestly comparable. I don't want either of them because I can't cast them, but I'll take the Pearl. I'm going to Elk my food token, which does make Oath of Druids worse, but makes introducing the initiative worse too. Cavern of Souls. I wasn't going to counter anything. Cavern on Cleric. So White Plume Adventurer cannot be countered. I can attack and take the initiative here, which gets the basic island out of my deck. My top cards, Spell Pierce, Stock Up Tinker. I'll take Tinker, as that's a way to juke around what they're doing. Okay, I'm going to Elk my Sensei's Top and try to get the initiative for my third land, and then Tinker Bolas' Citadel. They could have Solitude to keep the initiative here, but that's not a long-term situation. Yeah, just giving me the initiative makes a lot more sense. Get this island, and yeah, I guess Tinker for Citadel. I get blanked by a land here because I had to use my top to attack. Shit. All right, well, they are in check. They are at 4 mana, though, if they just, like, cast a Witch Blessed fella. That's annoying. Damaging me. I could have traded my Sensei's Top for their White Plume. Maybe that was better than animating it. Then they'd have a top active, but they wouldn't have had any creatures to take the initiative back. But then also I don't get the initiative through Solitude, but I wasn't going to anyway. Okay. Interesting texture here. Clarion Conqueror. Okay, so artifacts don't work, but Bolas the Citadel doesn't have to work. It just has to exist. Stock Up, sweet. Okay, Stock Up, holding priority. There's another Stock Up on top. I can show an Atraxa in this turn. I will take Atraxa and I think a Taxian Probe. Not that I think a Taxian Probe is going to be important. Just, oh, wait, I was oh, that is how this works. Those cards I'm looking at with Stock Up are the top of my deck. So I wasn't looking at another Stock Up on top. The Stock Up in the Stock Up pile was the 5th card down. Okay, that's important to do correctly, which I failed to do. All right, I'm going to Taxian Probe my opponent. They have Archon of Emeria, Plains, 2 Dungeoneers, Ancient Tomb. I can now Brainstorm Atraxa to the top of my deck. Brainstorm, holding priority. There's a Mox there. Put back. That's on Cleric, so I can Force of Will a Dungeoneer next turn. Gaia's Blessing underneath. Atraxa, casting Atraxa puts me to 3. And they do have a flying creature, but so do I. And I can take the initiative if I'm willing to Elk my Bolas' Citadel. Or, yeah, I can't cast Show and Tell here, because then they would get the Seasoned Dungeoneer right now. All right, I'm going to put back Atraxa and Moxjet. And even though I can't use it, I can clear it for free. I still have a land drop. I go to 3. I fetch, or I force. I go to 2. I need them to not draw Caracas or a second Cavern of Souls, basically. All right, here's Atraxa. I'm at 3. Big triggers. Another Oko. Show and Tell Stock. Time Walk. GG. Always the best card in the deck. Time Walk is in the pile. We're done. I'll take Atraxa Emerald drop here. Done. Play Boseiju off the top of my deck as my land for turn, and then Time Walk, and then we're going crazy. Oh, right, Planeswalkers can't activate either. That is one of the things. I mentioned Elking, Bolas Citadel. Not even true. Just fake. Just cheating. I could Boseiju this Cavern of Souls before I go to my next turn. Does that do anything? Human Warrior? Not really. I would just have to discard some stuff anyway. Alright. I am going to Boseiju Cavern of Souls. I know their hand, so if I was worried about turning on something or other, I would be more careful, but I don't have to be. And they can either lose the initiative or lose Clarion Conqueror here. And if they give me the initiative into a Time Walk turn, yeah, okay, sweet. This turns Oko back on, and all my artifact mana. Just good combat math from the vintage player. You don't see that very often. And I would like to make a food with Oko. That can be an elk next turn. Okay, go to my next turn, discard Forbidden Orchard. I will not be playing that this game. Okay, another Atraxa on top. I'm going to attack first. That's happening. That gives me the initiative, which makes Atraxa 9/9. Or I could scry 2. My opponent's at 4. So ever getting the initiative again wins me the game. If I take the Forge path. Yeah, alright. Atraxa is huge. And I'll play this Tropical Island. And I'm gonna animate my food. And this should win the game. Now at 10 life, I'm not even worried about a Cavern of Souls, and I have double force for anything else. That does not resolve. Cast Force of Will, tapping 5 mana. Ka-chow. Sweet. Now, Oath has always been the worst Bolas Citadel deck, but it's good enough. Citadel on an ugly board, hit a land immediately, pass, go to 3, game. Okie dokie. We are up against White Initiative. All of the pivot bots come in. Portal to Phyrexia is actually way better than Bolas Citadel. Your life total is frequently under duress. You can't always cast a spell. You don't always have an artifact. Portal to Phyrexia is a Plague Wind that turns around and wins for you. Sarah's Emissary. You and your creatures having protection from creatures. Pretty good against the creature deck. Consign to Memory can stop the initiative from being introduced and can counter their fast mana. That's interesting to me. Mindbreak Trap can stop their turn 1s. Utter Insignificance can turn off things like Containment Priest or Archon of Emeria. Right, there's 6 cards I definitely want, and then 2 that I probably want. Force of Negation can come out. Sensei's Top, although it did play a role that game, is not that good. Gitaxian Probe and Mental Misstep. They could have Swords to Plowshares, but Mental Misstep just not good enough. Flusterstorm, same story. Now we're down to the hard part. Do I want these consigns in? I could shave an Atraxa because I'm bringing in 2 other monsters. And I still have a critical density of monsters to show and tell. Emissary is way worse with Flash, though. It barely does anything. I could cut Spell Pierce on the draw. Yeah, I think Spell Pierce should come out. Alright, here's the new deck. Let's do it. Force of Vigor and Nature's Claim depend on what sort of hate they'd play, but if they have Clarion Conqueror and Archon of Emeria, I think the hate I'm going to see is creatures. I like Force of Will, I hate everything else here. This is a mulligan. Strip Mine doesn't cast my spells. Portal in my hand is not where I want it. Mulligan this. Okay, this is a turn 1 Tinker, and I can Mindbreak Trap if they go too hard. I will keep and bottom, I think Atraxa is the bottom. And I could bottom Time Walk, and that turns on Show and Tell and Flash better. Alright, Atraxa at the bottom. Like I've said, Time Walk is the best card in the deck. 1 spell. Land. Oh, that's tough. Alright, shit. Well, that slows me down a bit. Played around Mindbreak Trap beautifully. Ancestral Recall. Alright, well, gotta give them some creatures here to get on the board. Or a creature. And pass. Black Lotus. That's a spell. They clearly just drew that, or they would have played it last turn. Or maybe they're playing around Mindbreak Trap actively. In which case, I take it all back. White Plume Adventure, that's your second spell. This Forbidden Orchard actually sucks a lot because that makes Portal not even a Wrath. And I'm still jamming Portal if I hit here. Ooh, a 3rd spell. Okay, they were not playing around anything. They just didn't have one more thing to do last turn. Ironically, if they had drawn Black Lotus in their opening hand instead of on turn 2, I think I would have won the game already. Okay, I need a land. Mox Ruby is not a land, but it does an impression of one. Ancestral Recall myself. That's a land. I think I would rather fetch for Hedge Maze. I can Force of Will if I need to. I take a big chunk of damage here. Now I can Tinker without giving them another creature. Just gotta hope those last 2 cards in their hand aren't very good. This is 8 damage this turn if they want it to be. 9 once I fetch. I would hate to pitch Time Walk to Force, but the option is there. I have to counter almost any creature here. They are deep in the tank about where they're going here. If they're thinking about going into the Lost Well, their hand is probably pretty bad. Okay, they have gone into the Forge ultimately, forging up their Spirit token, spreading the power and toughness around. 3 cards in hand. I don't care about Wasteland. Deal. That's gone. I can still Force of Will through Thalia. I take a large beat here. I'm at 9. And they do have a creature, which means I have to... Wait, I don't have to counter. Yes, I do, because they get to see my hand and name Tinker. Shit, all right. Yeah, any other creature, I could have tinkered into Time Walk. Force this. Pitching Time Walk. Don't love it, but now we begin the slow crawl back at 2 life, because they go into the trap next turn. Okay. Island, Tinker... Sacrifice Mox Ruby as the one that doesn't matter here. Portal to Phyrexia. They sack 3 things. They go into the trap, which puts me to 2. Next turn, I reanimate whatever creature I like the most out of the graveyards. If they draw a land and cast a Witch Enchanter, that sucks. Clinging to life here. Alright, please don't have a Disenchant. Oh, alright, they played Disenchant from hand as land number 4. They just had 3 of these this game? Alright. Okay, well, I'm dead to this thing, and now in a lot of trouble. I need to do some vintage shit here. That's not it. Alright, GG. A tight one. Now I'm on the play, where everything's easier. I think I still like having access to Mindbreak Trap, even though now it's face up and they can play around it, but I only have 1, so like how hard are they going to play around that? Yeah, I think this is still the deck I want to play. The Consigned Memories can also counter triggers from things like Solitude or Witch Enchanter, in addition to everything else I said. Alright, let's get it. Just on the play now. On the play. This is not good enough. I'm going to mulligan. I do like how much mana I have, but I don't like that it's tapped. I don't like there's 2 orchards here. No real plan. Mulligan that. Alright, turn 1 flash. Deal. I'm going to keep this, and I think I should bottom a Trop. Looking at 10 cards would hopefully yield me another land. Trop, Ruby. Do I want to go in their upkeep or now? I think now. Flash. Traxa. Can't pay the difference. Dig 10 cards. There's Tinker, Oath. Come on, deck. Mox Sapphire is excellent because that turns on the Consign in my hand. And I got a land. I don't think I want Strip Mine. I think I want Misty. And do I want a Trex in my hand? I think I do. Done. Play out the Sapphire and pass. So they know I can Tinker next turn if they don't do something about it. They also know I have Oath in hand. If they play out a creature that answers Tinker, then I can Oath. I could also Consign to Memory Black Lotus. If they play Black Lotus, I'll probably just counter that. Alright. Mana Crypt, that qualifies. I could see what comes out of the Crypt and hope that it has a triggered ability, or I could cut a 2-mana jump out from under them. And frequently they keep hands relying on Mana Crypt. Okay, Caracas. I could Tinker for the portal right now. I could also just cast Stock Up, see where that goes. I could put Oath into play. I think I want to Stock Up, actually. Without having Citadel in the deck, Tinker's a little mid here. Okay, Show and Tell and another Stock Up look good to me. With that Gaia's Blessing and the basic land near the bottom of the deck. Though I am likely to shuffle them here to get Hedge Maze. Ancient Tomb. So they're back up to what they wanted to do on turn 1. White Plume Adventurer. You got it. Okay, they have the initiative. They now also have a creature and a Plains in their hand. I'll get my Hedge Maze. Misty Reinforced to the bin. Mindbreak Trap. probably a little late for that one. I could play Stock Up plus Oath here, or Show and Tell plus Oath. Show and Tell is risky because they get to put a thing into. And with the Caracas face up, I can't even really rely on Atraxa. If I Show and Tell and Atraxa hits a mana source, a accelerated mana source, I could tinker into the portal and wipe out whatever comes in off Show and Tell. I think I want to Tinker and Oath here. Or if I Tinker, I don't need to Oath. I want to Stock Up and then probably Oath. Okay, Stock Up first. Mox Jet, Forbidden Orchard. It's definitely Mox Jet. And I don't think I want Show and Tell. I have one of those already. Mox Jet, Forbidden Orchard. Okay. Are they going to Mind Break Trap me? I've cast Stock Up this turn. I don't want to give them a creature if I don't have to. All right. I'm choosing not to play around Mind Break Trap. Okay, that resolved. Forbidden Orchard's in. I'm just working the pieces here. I am under some pressure. They have a handful of cards, but they now have a real problem to solve. And I can Show and Tell if I find myself in an emergency down the road. Cavern of Souls on a human. Most of the deck is humans. I guess it's not even true. Archon's not a human. Clarion Conqueror is not a human. Witch Enchanter is a human. I cannot counter it. And they have not cast 3 spells this turn to exile it. Alright, this is fine. I have worked my way up to the 6 mana spot where I can Tinker and Show and Tell in the same turn. Guess I just have to worry about Show and Tell putting in Anointed Peacekeeper. But with Black Lotus, I'm not sure I need to worry about that anymore. Okay, here's my land. And Peacekeeper makes the spell cost 2 more. Yeah, I'm going to start with Show and Tell. Using my artifacts to do it in case they put in a Conqueror. They put in Archon of Emeria. Well, that's my spell for the turn. That works. Force of Will, Show and Tell. Okay, Force of Will is an instant. Show and Tell Sarah's Emissary gives me another line through this. Do I need another line through this? Yeah, they have Caracas. Okay. Soul Ring, Strip Mine, Oko, Force of Will. Time Walk versus Show and Tell is the last decision. If I tinker into Time Walk, that's good enough. Yeah, okay. And I will take Sarah's Emissary. Just making sure that Force of Will is highlighted. It's pretty important. Okay. Done. All right. Archon of Emeria got me pretty good. This is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm dead. I'm dead. I fucked it. I completely fucked it. All right. Yeah, if I just tinker there, I think I win. God, what a jackass. All right, so I'm going to lose a insanely positive matchup because I am rusty on Oath. I thought about like 4 of the cards they could have, but not the one that actually mattered. Yep, fair enough. They bounce Atraxa, they attack for exactly my life total. Tough beats. I mean, not tough beats, 100% my fault. But good learning experience. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
Another way I could have played that last turn better is if I didn't make my land drop before I Show and Told, then that Strip Mine I found could have killed the Caracas. I play more Besages than I do Strip Mines, but I could have left myself 3 hits instead of 2. Opponent says, hello YouTube, everyone say hi to CLT Legacy League. I am going to keep my hand, another non-Lurrus. All right, we've got Mox Sapphire and a pass. Force of Will. That's exciting. Okay, I'm probably going to Ancestral at some point in this turn cycle. But I want to play a little cat and mouse. It's not as simple as fired in their upkeep when they're showing Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm. Ooh, Soporific Springs. Next to a Scalding Tarn, so this I think is the Tinker Initiative deck. Stock up. All right. I'm going to Ancestral in response to this. Because right now the shields are down a little bit. And do I want to force this stock up? I have it, but if I stock up and hit Atraxa next turn, I think I've found so much mana here that keeping the flash just in case is worth it. If any of the top 6 cards in my deck are Atraxa, I'm going to be glad I didn't force this. Stock Up's a popular card, huh? Mana Crypt. I own Stock Up. There's an Oko there. I can cast that card. Or I could go Oath Orchard with Force Backup. I can't quite do both. I have an Orchard already, so I'm going to take Oath and Oko or Force of Negation. Oko is its own secondary plan. Force of Negation can help push plan A through. Oko also pitches to Force if I need it, though. And then I get to keep the Flash. All right, I'm going to do that. That was a tight call, though. All right, I'm not going to play around Game 1 Mindbreak Trap. They have that shit, they got it. Oath. Forbidden Orchard, pass. Okay, we've got a Force of Will and an Oko to make this thing work. We got 7 cards in hand. Lavinia. That makes my Force of Will worse. But I could Elk Lavinia next turn. Okay, Lavinia resolves. Soul Ring. Mox Opal. Am I getting full Tinker pivoted? And the problem here is if I force Lavinia, I still don't have Force. Oh, okay. They're a mana short if Time Vault is in their hand. But they haven't played a land yet. And if their game plan is turn 2 Stock Up into turn 3 protected Vault Key, hell yeah, you got it. All right, they're untapping Soul Ring for some extra mana. And they do have the Tinker. Okay. So are they going to put me in check and get Time Vault here, or are they going to get something else? Oh, Tinker for P-hole. My P-hole! One of my favorite jokes to tell these days, even though it's disgusting. Okay. Mana Crypt. Lost my flip. Spell Pierce. Happy to see that. Land number 3 lets me cast Oko. Oko. Elk. The Lavinia, so my hand is on. That makes Lavinia bigger, ironically. But it makes my chance of death smaller, which is the important part. So now I'm in the market for a Boseiju, or another Oath, or an Atraxa that I can flash in here. A Stock Up to dig. Alright, I don't think I can afford to fight over this Stock Up. Oh, they tinkered away their Soul Ring. I could have Spell Pierced that. I definitely should have Spell Pierced that. What am I doing? Yeah, in my brain, they just had way more mana than they did. Tinkering away Soul Ring when you have Mox Opal is interesting. So they're valuing colors over raw mana source. Alright, so I'm... Oko's taken 3. Lost my flip again. Bolas' Citadel. I'm a black short of casting that. Can't flash it in. That's cheating. I think I want to Elk my Mana Crypt. I can still cast Force of Will and Spell Pierce without Mana Crypt. Yeah, and this now blocks Lavinia, and I'm not bleeding out along the way. Yeah, I'm not going to race here. This is a defensive action. That was a pretty bad failure to Spell Pierce last turn, though. JK. I knew they were going to play a 4-drop this turn. Bonk. Okay, cool. Got away with that one. Hey, maybe they don't have that One Ring if Stock Up doesn't resolve, but, you know, scoreboard. All right, yeah, we'll trade. Get that out of here. And Hedge Maze is in my deck. We'll extra peek here. Atraxa Grand Unifier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. White, black, blue, green. I will leave that on top of my library. I also have the flip side. I could play Flash and then pay the difference in their end step. That's so sweet. I'm doing that shit. Do I want to Elk their Manifold Key? I think I just want to make a food. I still have Force of Will if they get something going. All right, I'm going to make a food. And I'll pass. Okay, so they're currently tapped out. I could Flash and stick the Atraxa here. That sounds really good, actually. Okay. Let me cast Flash right now. Choose a creature. Would you like to pay all this mana? I would. Yes. Hell yeah. It does come up, believe it or not. Paying the flavor text on Flash is a thing. And here is Stock Up, Oath of Druids, Soul Ring, Mental Misstep, Atraxa, and I don't think I need a Misty Rainforest, Tropical Island. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'd have to discard here. I'm actually not going to take the Tropical Island. I'll just put it on bottom of my deck. Okay. There's Atraxa in play. Paradoxical Outcome. Gotta fight over that. I'll pitch the Atraxa. Cool, that worked. Wasn't fully expecting it to work, but it did. They've seen a lot of cards since the last time I did something they needed to counter. Cool. I guess if they had counted to 7, because like a lot of people actually just forget that Flash, you can pay the other 5. And that's a way, especially in the Oath Mirror, to break it open when you're Oko gaming, getting an Atraxa in the end step with Flash when people can't Oko you. Okay, so we're against some sort of paradoxical outcome deck that doesn't have Luris. Narset for sure. Force of Negation probably. They have Vault Key. So Force of Vigor and Nature's Claim are worth thinking about. Null Rod's worth thinking about. Oh, we saw the One Ring. Yeah, there's some sort of big artifact stomping around, making noise kind of deck. All right. I am going to cut my Mana Crypt because I am bringing in the Null Rods, and these are a package that I generally bring in and out together. Sensei's Top, also pretty bad with Null Rod around. Unfortunately, after those two, there's still 5 more cards I'd like to bring in, and not that many more cards I'd want to cut. A Basic Island I can probably live without. That gets me Narset, and I don't need all of these, but having 1 or 2 around might be nice. I need something to hit with Tinker. My Artifact mana is as thin as I'm comfortable getting it. I like my counter spells. I could shave a Show and Tell if they have something powerful like the One Ring or their own Tinker items like a Citadel or a Portal or Blightsteel Colossus. I don't know what their life is. All right, I'm going to get 1 Nature's Claim in here. Nature's Claim could also take out Vexing Bauble, a card that would otherwise make it hard for me to interact with my opponent. Oh wait, what's going on? I cut more cards. Oh, I forgot I cut these two already. I actually get all these. I was like, my deck's illegal. How did this happen? There we go. Oh no, I didn't bring in the Null Rods. That's what happened. Oh my god. I'm losing my mind, team. All right, here we go. Now everything's where it's supposed to be. A Force of Will, an Atraxa that I can pitch to it. I get to see their hand. Stock Up can reload. Black Lotus. Stock Up. I'm not going to counter a turn 1 Stock Up off Black Lotus. This ends up being 1 for 1. They spent Black Lotus, they spent Stock Up. Like, it's 2 for 2, not 1 for 1. But they have the same number of cards in their hand at the end, and now Black Lotus is gone. I think I have to be okay with that. They have no additional plays, just passing with a comfortable 6 cards in hand. Ooh, Upkeep. I'm going to get a little Upkeep Ancestral. I'm not going to fight over this. I'm a combo deck. I like my Force of Will. I'm going to look at their hand. Maybe Strip Mine them, depending on what I see. Okay, Teferi Time Raveler, 2 Force of Wills, Swords to Plowshares, Prismatic Ending. So no actual plan here, but lots of ways to slow me down. Strip Mine does not do a lot here. I think I will play out the Mox Ruby. If they want a Prismatic Ending this, that's fine. That's a Prismatic Ending that won't be pointed at my Oath of Druids. And I'd rather Strip Mine them next turn where I can take them off Teferi meaningfully, or slow down the Teferi. This Teferi is a card I can win through, but it makes everything shitty. Hedge Maze. Another Force. All right, yeah, that gives me double Force. I can win a fight now over Teferi. Oh, hand size, discarded Swords to Plowshares. Got him. All right, I'm going for Strip Mine here. Just tempo Strip Mine. We didn't see a 3rd mana source in hand, and I need to dig out of this more than I need them to dig out of it. There's the Delta. All right, they're meeting me in the field of Mana Denial. That's fine. I got more lands. Stock Up. All right, now I can force twice and keep a Stock Up around. And if they cycle Lorien Revealed, that's a blue card that they don't have now. Kept their card on top. Here comes Teferi. Force pitching Atraxa. They force pitching Lorien. I'll force pitching Stock Up. And we know there's another Force. Is there another blue card? And do you want to have that fight? Okay, Force pitching Mental Misstep. All right. You're down to 1 card in hand. I'm down to 2. And I got to play sorceries from here on out. I don't think I have any answer to a Teferi. Plussing that, sure. Draw for turn, Show and Tell. That's a someday plan. I hate that I have to give them creatures here, but I do. Forbidden Orchard, pretty bad card when you're not winning the game. Boseiju, Null Rod, Oath of Druids. And I gotta start testing with Oath, that's a no-brainer. Oh, Show and Tell, Bolus of Citadel is a strat. Okay, done. Deal. Alright, pass the turn. If their plan is to plus Teferi, then they have 2 cards in hand that have to beat my active Bolus of Citadel. Mana Crypt. Bouncing Mana Crypt. Alright, we're floating mana. Hit Mox Opal. Oh god, something's happening. It's a PO for 3. Maybe 2. Oh, PO for 3. Okay, well, Teferi left play. Yeah, this got ugly real quick. But they do, at least temporarily, have to respect Counterspell. Their hand is Teferi and 1 unknown. Okay, they don't have to respect Counterspell anymore. And they plus Teferi, that's good news. 5 mana is scary because that's Force of Will. And they don't need a blue card to go with it. Yeah, I mean, it's show and tell. If their hand is empty, this is the biggest swing I'm going to get. Oh, God. They have the Force. Okay, well, there's that. That was the card I needed to fade. I mean, a Spell Pierce, Fatal Push, or not Fatal Push, Flusterstorm, the other card that starts with F. That's how my brain works. Spells that start with F. And they're bouncing their Mana Crypt for card advantage again, and did not redeploy it. Soul Ring. I suppose I should put that into play. And, well, Teferi is currently without a bounce, so let's get this Oath of Druids down. All right, 4 cards in hand, one of them's Mana Crypt. Am I dead? Mox Jet. If there's a Containment Priest over there, basically, Ice Cold. All right, trigger. What do you got? Nothing. Nothing. All right, I have an Atraxa, Gaia's Blessing triggered. I'm going to look at the cards before I decide how these are stacked. Time Walk and Ancestor are both in my graveyard already, so I actually want to Gaia's Blessing before I Atraxa. Sometimes that matters. Like, if I could find the card I want in 19 looks instead of 49, I'd rather do that. Okay, well, Tinker is here. We got a GG in the chat. Really? I feel like we're doing a lot more here. But Show and Tell, Narset, Strip Mine, Force of Will for good luck. Okay, I'll take these ones. Draw for turn. I can cast this Narset, and maybe that's what they're worried about. All right, I'm going to play Strip Mine and cast Narset, and I'm not going to Strip Mine. I had the Soul Ring just sitting here too. What am I even doing? The GG confused me. Okay. I don't want... I can minus Narset. I can afford it. Mox Sapphire. That lets me also Show and Tell if I want, or I could Oko. I don't want to Oko. That gives them a 3rd creature to kill Narset with. Yeah, I'm just going to pass, actually. Yeah, we're still playing this game. I don't know what the GG was for. Like, you still have Teferi. You can minus to bounce Atraxa. You don't get to draw a card, but at least Atraxa is gone. Okay, well, we're back to my turn, and here is the situation where, because I have Gaia's Blessing, I get to fearlessly keep looping. I'm going to keep the one without Summoning Sickness. Here is Force of Will, Mox Jet, Boseiju, Oath, Show and Tell. Let's put as many cards in my hand as I can. And they didn't even plus Teferi. I wonder if they're just, like, letting me narrate for the camera. You don't have to do that. Okay. Teferi's dead. Here comes all my cards. Show and Tell. I lost a game I could never lose because I played Show and Tell earlier this league. I think I'm just going to dump out a bunch more Oaths and pass the turn. Yeah, I can Oath 3 times and just keep the goods rolling. Let the good times roll. Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Time Vault. I'm holding Boseiju. Not worried about that one. Mana Vault, Vault theme deck. The Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Time Vault. We need a Time Crypt to complete the circle here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 mana, so Strip Mining doesn't matter. Okay, here we go. First time we get to do this. All right, send it. Send it over and over. Yes. Gaia's Blessing triggered. 2 cards left in my deck. And this actually matters a lot. Time Walk is in my graveyard. All right. Keep the one that can attack. Loop. Dig. Stock up. There's Blessing, so we know that's going to be near the bottom. Black Lotus. Land. Misstep. I don't think I need to flash here. I got enough Atraxas. Smash. Keep this one. We've got Hoko. Stock up. Land. I don't think I want to keep this Atraxa. I will keep the Flusterstorm. That puts an Atraxa on the bottom of my deck, where Gaia's Blessing is above it. There's Gaia's Blessing. 5 cards left in my deck. Time Walk, of course, in the graveyard. Loop it. And Force of Will. Emerald. I don't think I need or want this Null Rod, but I mean, I can't lose if it's in play. All right, yeah, Null Rod. Null Rod, Force of Will, land, just to get it out of the mix. And I'm not taking that Atraxa. Done. Now I draw for turn, after seeing 21 cards already this turn. And I will attack my opponent's life points directly. And then we've got 25 cards in the deck. I think I would like to stock up, see if I could find this Time Walk and just get this over with. Tinker. Do I have my Brainstorm? I don't. All right, Brainstorm not present. I will take Force of Will and Tinker, though. And then Narset can minus. And I can still just cast another. I'm going to play Null Rod this turn. I might as well use my artifacts. Beseiju, Force of Negation. Beseiju, Force of Negation. These go to the bottom. And I'm going to minus Narset. Give me another look. Ancestral Recall. I'll take that one. And Ancestral Recall myself. Found Time Walk. Found Time Walk. We did it. Cast Time Walk. Oh my god. All right. Sweet. And then Beseiju, or no, I'm supposed to Null Rod this turn. Or I can Null Rod next turn. All right, Beseiju the Time Vault. Nope, don't need to do that. Beseiju a land. Beseiju your Meticulous Archive. Okay, they said they want me to play it out, so they have extra footage to watch. Reasonable, I suppose. Okay, boom. I'm definitely in no danger of timing out. And I will go to my end step and discard a bunch of stuff that is not useful in my hand. We're going to end step PO into the Narset for the jokes. All right, have fun with that. Why do they have 8 cards in their hand? What just happened? Oh, did they have 7 in the first place? No, they only have 1. Hold on. Prevented from drawing a card. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, the cards they just picked up. That just broke my brain for no reason. Obviously, that's how PO works. All right, I'm discarding anything that's not a counterspell. Don't need the Nature's Claim anymore. I don't really need Tinker anymore either. Don't need Flash. Don't need 2 Okos. I guess Mental Misstep is the worst counterspell. Still kicking around here. All right, Null Rod can be discarded too. I'm gonna loop them all back anyway. Here we go. Yes. There's Blessing. The Time Walk's in the graveyard because I cast it last turn. They said they want to see if I can find Time Walk again. I'm certainly going to try. Ancestral, stock up, and Beseiju. I guess I'll take the Oath so I don't have to look at it again this turn. Brainstorm, Probe. I'll take Probe. Or no, I'll take Tinker. Stop it. Stop it right now. Take Tinker, land, Brainstorm. Done. Yeah, these Gaia's Blessing games are so fun when it actually is happening. Milled the Time Walk, of course. Blessing, Atraxa, stock up, land, Emerald. There's Citadel, but I just grabbed Tinker, so I'll leave that there. Oko, and Claim. All right, done. Draw for turn. And my draw for turn was Null Rod. Attack. I could have played 2 Okos, elked 2 things, but I don't want them to be able to Oath if they get a turn. It's one of those silly things you got to worry about when you're an Oath deck. I just played my land, which I should not have. I am in information overload here. I'm going to float. I'm going to sack Mox Jet, get the Citadel, Black Lotus, Forbidden Orchard. I have Ancestral and Brainstorm to get past this. Ancestral myself. Another land on top. How could this have been avoided? Brainstorm. Okay, I'll put an Atraxa on top. Or I can put 2 things on top. I'll put Atraxa and Oko in that order. So Atraxa, Oko. Now I get to play Oko. I get to play Atraxa. I get to look at the rest of my deck. Oh my god. I looked at 10 of the 15 cards in my deck and Time Walk's not among them. Okay, Gitaxian Probe, land, Spell Pierce, done. Stock up, cast that shit. I see the Time Walk. We did it. I'll take Time Walk and Scalding Tarn. I did it, opponent. I found the other Time Walk. I'm glad we could spend this time together. Okay, the top card of my deck is Gaia's Blessing, which means basically nothing. Okay, it just means I have to Oath. Except I don't even have to do that. Okay, I have successfully discarded enough times. Okay, I will Oath once, and then I'm going to stop just for time interest. Traxa gets Mox Jet, and then I'll stop. Stock up on top of my deck. Don't Oath. Don't Oath. Oko on top of my deck. And attack. That would have been a lot quicker in paper. And you can just do stuff if your opponent doesn't want to concede. But still, 5 minutes on the clock, plenty of times. GG's, opponent. I hope you got lots to enjoy about how we navigated a nearly infinite situation. A, like, not infinite, but way more than you'll ever need kind of situation. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw in round 4 versus the same opponent. Oh, interesting. I asked if opponent just finished their league, and they said no, they're in round 4. I thought you couldn't be paired into the same person again unless one of you was in a different league, but apparently that's not true. I am going to mulligan. I like the Force of Will versus this PO combo deck. I don't like the 2 Atraxas. I am going to keep. Okay, we've got a Mox Sapphire in the mix. Tundra, Soul Ring, Portable Hole. Was that a misclick, or are we just building out artifacts? Oh no, oh no. We got a shit wrong one. What do they mean to play? The hand's getting worse. So there's the Guy's Blessing. First time in the league I've actually drawn it, which is, of course, the downside. If I could just have, like, Guy's Blessing as my companion, it's just a 61st card in the deck that you can never draw. Obviously, I'm in. Well, I can have Monastery Mentor in play. All right, cool. That thing's handled. Mox Opal. Was that bait? 1 card left in my opponent's hand. I'll get my precious Hedge Maze here. That's been doing a lot of work this league. They say Vintage is all about winning on turn 1. Clearly that's not true. I'm actually going to keep Boseiju. That can both defend me from getting Vault Keyed, and it's my 3rd land to cast stock up next turn. And this game's about to get ugly. Another Boseiju is kind of cool. I can just cast Gaia's Blessing, but then it's in my graveyard where it's harder to brainstorm back in. I don't think there's any way to recover it once it's in my graveyard. Like, Gaia's Blessing does cantrip. Target player shuffles 3 cards from their graveyard into the library, then you draw a card. It's not in the graveyard to target itself. It's not a self-infinite loop. I can brainstorm it back into my deck. I cannot otherwise pick it up. So protecting this in the hand is going to actually be kind of important. All right, I got to give them a donkey, but here we go. All right, stock up resolved. Good news. The Oath of Druids to go with the donkey. I had to feed them. The Show and Tell. Yeah, Show and Tell and Oath of Druids are the 2 things I want here. That is 2 routes to my Mighty Atraxa, which is what I have to do here. We know my opponent. Oh god, did I lose? Did I tap out and lose with Boseiju in my hand? Okay. Now I have real decisions to make. I could just jam the Show and Tell. Opponent is missing damage, though. With this Spirit Token, like, that should have attacked. I guess I'm just casting Show and Tell and hoping I'm alive on the other side of it. If their hand is a counter spell, then they have a big draw with my shields down. The alternative here is me playing Sensei's Top and just holding up a Boseiju. All right, Show and Tell resolved with no argument. They didn't put a card in. Here we go. Okay, a land, Jet versus Soul Ring. I think I'd actually rather have Jet on this board. Jet, stock up, Oath, Oko, Force. All right. Feeling good now. I was feeling a little concerned for a little while. Now I only feel good. Jet. Oh, what's going on? All right, Swords to Plowshares. Well, I have Mental Misstep in my hand. Bang. Sometimes your cards just line up. And now I have Boseiju up. I can force a play, and the beats begin soon. Time Walk. That doesn't change anything, so it can resolve. Like, they can't push damage. If they use their extra turn to untap Time Vault, that's the same as not casting Time Walk. Okay. And they're dead. Cool. Had to fend off that opening salvo. Obviously, the misclick bought me a turn, but I would have forced Mentor either way there, and then like the game would have been the same, except they have Portable Hole in their hand. All right, we did this once already. Should be better at sideboarding now. I have a little more info. The Portable Holes are around. A Crypt Show and Tell Island top, and there was one other card I caught last time. Can I remember what it was? I don't think I went down one Atraxa, did I? That doesn't sound right. I could shave an oath, but I am trying to shove on this opponent. Maybe I will shave an oath. I don't remember if that's what I did last time. Maybe I just didn't bring in Force Negation last time. Regardless, here we are. This is what I've done this time. Oof. This one... I like Boseiju. I don't like the lack of forces. I'm going to mulligan. This is not a vintage hand. Okay, this one is. I'm going to cape and bottom Bolus the Citadel. I can force something, and I have turn one shove of my own thing. Saga. Haven't seen one of those yet this league. Mana Vault. You got it. Ruby. Opal. It's a lot of stuff. Mox Sapphire. Okay. I still have to use my land because these don't tap for green. All right, Sapphire's in and pass. They don't have a creature. I don't have a way to give them a creature, but I have 2 Okos and 4 Orchards in my deck. If they try to go into Saga Gaming, maybe they make 2 constructs and then tutor a... I don't want to play against that card. Make 2 constructs, then tutor a Grafdigger's Cage would put me under a lot of pressure. Ooh, Hardcast Force back. You got it. Okay, they have the ring, which means Oath can't target them, but good thing it wasn't going to this turn anyway. Narset off the top. Traxa. That's like Narset, except nothing like it at all. It is a legend and canonically female. Otherwise, not like Narset. It's blue. Just looking for ways that my girls are like each other. Okay, so they're making a construct, which must mean there's a Grafdigger's Cage in the deck. I'm going to fetch Hedge Maze now before I get Pithing Needled. Hidden Orchard. Oh, no. Yeah, I think that actually has to be good enough. It might not be good enough, but... Oh, it's never going to be good enough. Either they have a cage or they don't. They already put a creature into play. I should not have kept that. That was a huge spew. I'm losing my mind right now. Manifold Key. So they might be just planning to win right now. Drawing 2 cards with the ring. They can key to draw 3 more cards. They could be trying to outmuscle Atraxa. Or there we go. All right. I am dead now. All right. Game 3. Consign to Memory. Good against the One Ring. I don't want any of this stuff. That's not necessary. Force Vigor, Nature's Claim, Consign to Memory, all maybes here. I could shave another Oath if I want to try to be a control gamer against them. Like I can bring in a Consign. Can I fit another Nature's Claim in? Not really. There are some matchups where I'm comfortable going to like 0 Oaths, but this is not one of them. I've already cut 1 Oath too, and a Show and Tell. How do I win this game? I cast Oko or Null Rod or Narset. Okay, I'm gonna go like this. There's that Time Walk. All right, keep. Handful of Power 9 blue cards. I'm in. I'm gonna fetch 4 Tropical Island, pass the turn, and Ancestral in their upkeep. This plays around Force of Negation, a card that we know they have in their deck. Force pitching Force of Negation. Force pitching Atraxa. Keep my Time Walk. Part of Atraxa's job is being blue. Can't feel bad about pitching that. Null Rod. Fast Null Rod. I like that. Mana Crypt. Please don't cast the Mentor right now. Okay. One Ring is obviously powerful, but Null Rod is exactly what the doctor ordered. They're taking 2.5 damage per turn on average. Okay, here's me with a handful of artifacts as well. Soul Ring, All Rod. Hope I don't get Mind Break trapped here. I could have played around it, but I could also leave up my mana. No! Oh, that sucks ass. Alright, well, I've been a big fan of Time Walk throughout the whole league, and I'm going to use it in the most miserable way possible. Time Walk. And go to my next turn, just desperate to do anything here. Tinker. No, that's not it. Okay, I guess I will play out Black Lotus, and now I could... I still can't cast an Attract, I'm missing the colors, and I'm probably just going to die to this One Ring. The Double Force. And if they shred through their whole deck looking for exactly Time Vault, that's something I can tangle with. Like the Mana Crypt and the One Ring are going to damage them along the way here, and they are starting from one card in hand, but a lot of that is just cope. I am very far behind right now. Brainstorm. Well, my hand's bad. Let's see if I can make it better. Atraxa, stock up Flusterstorm. I'm going to put back Atraxa and Mental Misstep, and then I'm going to cast stock up. Stonks. That's my One Ring. They want to Force of Will this. I guess I have to Fluster. Force pitching PO. I will Fluster this Storm, because I know my top two cards are really bad. 2 blue in the pool, a green available, and I still have a land drop. Both of Druids will not get me there. I could take Force of Negation Mental Misstep as the maximum amount of interaction I could leave up here. I actually think I need the land to represent Boseiju. But then Force of Negation doesn't do anything. Yeah, Oath doesn't do anything here either. If I don't put Attracts in my hand, I have no real plan to win. Like, I can't high roll Flash or Show and Tell. I think I have to take Force and drop here. Just like knowing that they're a Time Vault deck, and their Ring and their Crypt are my win conditions right now. Keep winning Crypt flips, though. Hardly seems fair. Moxjet. Stock up. Tundra. Opal. It's a very Time Reveler. Fudge and A. Alright. Opponent might be getting revenge here. I've already used my Ancestral and my Time Walk this game. Not a lot of good cards left in my deck. Bouncing their Mana Crypt. Yep, that takes some of the pressure off of this life total situation. Drawing another counterspell is great. The good news is they're not going to play around interaction. It has to be specifically Boseiju that I have here. Tolarian Academy. The bad news is Paradoxical Outcome can pick up the One Ring just fine. Manifold Key. Mana Vault. Lots of mana in the pool. This is probably an outcome. Off you go. Picked up the Teferi, though. That is reckless. I mean, I imagine their hand. They didn't float with Academy, and they picked up the Teferi. I don't know, I just have a hard time believing that unlocking potential counterspells from my hand in this spot is worth more than drawing the 22nd card in your hand when you get the other 21 already. Yeah, we know there's a Monastery Mentor in this deck somewhere as well, which is not a card I can interact with. Lavinia. Alright, well, I was going to cast my Force anyway. Vault. A tap Mana Vault is another way that I could cheese these last 9 points across when I'm otherwise doing nothing. The One Ring, I'm not going to fight over this because that's my win con. Ancestral Recall over the top of the One Ring before you have protection from everything. Good sequencing. Time Vault. I guess I'm supposed to force that. It's better in exile. And I have the Boseiju, but... Alright. Well, I will Boseiju this thing now. Yeah, I should have cast Force of Negation on that, though. I was just, like, thinking the Teferi would come down before that happened. And that is not what happened. Yeah, they can outcome pick all this shit up again over the top of this. And they would have to somehow not have a counterspell in hand at this point. Okay. I think it's better for me to try to counter on the way back down. The Academy's been tapped at this point. Opponent has 13 cards in their deck. 13 times 2 is more than 17. So they do already have lethal if they get this Vault untapping. Opal. Sapphire. Teferi. Alright, yeah. Reminded them that they should probably cast that card. Right. I'm going to counter Teferi. Maybe I should have left up mana representing another Boseiju. Because now I just lose and I know it. But I just lost anyway. Alright. I guess I'll give them the opportunity to cast something that will kill them. A Ring or a Crypt. They shouldn't. They should just stop. Right, there's Vault. Right, we'll see what gets discarded here. and then I will concede probably. Even if my opponent forgets to use their vault one turn, they're so far ahead, it doesn't matter. They discarded 3 One Rings and Mana Crypt. All right, they're not going to fall for their own trap. I am out of here. They've gotten their revenge. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round, positive record on the line. I'm finally against Aluris, and I have the most oath hand imaginable. 3 big payoffs, no way to spend mana. We mulligan these. Okay, this is a turn 1 stock up with some interaction. I'm going to keep it and bottom Scalding Tarn. I don't know what flavor of Luris my opponent will be. All right, well, they know what I'm up to now. I'm not going to mental misstep something like that, because misstepping that makes my force worse. I can't actually afford to force pitching stock up and still expect to play this game. Sapphire, Bauble, another Bauble, Soul Ring. Guess I'll try to fight this. This could be bait. They could just go like land Ancestral here, but that felt important. They've been bobbled themselves too. They know everything that's about to happen. Am I drawing a blue card to protect this stock up? No, but my opponent now knows exactly what deck I'm on. So they kept a hand without a land in it. I am going to stock up now where it would cost a force to interact with. All right, force pitching Brainstorm, that's fine. Now they know my whole hand. F6, Ox Pearl, land. Are we buying Luris, or do we have something actually fucked to do? They bought Luris. That will be drawing 2 cards a turn starting next turn. However, look what I got. Bang. That was probably the best draw in my deck. That makes Luris mostly unplayable, and it makes this Orchard actually good. And as I mentioned when we mulliganed this game, the look at these 3 loser shit cards in my hand. This is Oath shit. This is also Oath shit, where you have nothing going on, and then suddenly you put Atraxa into play. That's the payoff of having those awkward, terrible hands. All right, opponent's going to draw 2 cards, and I'm going to look at 10. Yes, use the ability. Guy's Blessing hit exactly half my deck, gone past. Naturally, Time Walk is the last card milled. All right, so I do want to shuffle in first. We've got Oath, stock up. Do I want Besiju versus a normal land? Probably not. Oath, stock up. Sapphire. I think I want Sapphire more than I want Soul Ring. And Scalding Tarn. That could get the Hedge Maze if I whiff. Okay, done. Draw for turn. Flash, that's cool. Mox, stock up. They do have a Force of Will now. Force pitching Snapcaster. I think I would like to force back here. I don't think I need Flash when I have potentially multiple Oaths going. Oko, Thief of Crowns. But Elk, they're Luris. There's not much else going on here for them. Yeah, I think I want Misstep and Oko. I would have liked Force more, of course, but if I have the option to interact with 1 thing or with 0 things, I'll take the 1. All right, here is Oko. I want to Elk this Luris before it draws any more cards. And pass. Even if they kill Atraxa, Oath is still in play. And if they kill Oath, Atraxa is still in play. And if they kill both, Oko's still in play. And I have another Oath in my hand. Nice. There's that Oath of Druids off the top versus a deck that happens to contain creatures. Sometimes that's all it takes. Okay, we saw Mox Pearl, which I don't think tells us anything. I'm looking at the Dimir Luris control decks. Mox Sapphire, Mox Jet. Okay, so yeah, the Luris decks do frequently only play their on-color Moxen, but Luris is white. If they were going to play a third Mox, if they're just Dimir, it would be Pearl. But Dimir Luris does seem to be not playing Pearl. So I should probably expect Containment Priest here. And if there are Containment Priests, then I want my utter insignificances. I'm not big on Force of Negation against mostly creature decks. They are going to be a Wasteland deck, whether they're 3 color or 2. Wasteland and Strip Miner in there, leaving my basic land in. Tinker for Citadel is your best way to cheese a game. Tinker for Portal beats Containment Priest, but potentially so does Tinker for Citadel. I think I want to shave a Spell Pierce, which might seem weird, but if I end up fighting over creatures, then the Spell Pierce won't help me do that anyway. Show and Tell can put in Bolas' Citadel. That's pretty sick. 17 is so many lands for a vintage deck. I am going to cut my basic island. Maybe. I got to think about it. If basic island's in the deck, it's for matchups like this one. But no, something to tutor with the initiative, something to get off Ghost Quarter, something to get off Beseiju. None of that stuff's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to try this. Blessing in hand. I have a turn 1 Oath, and I can dovetail that into Show and Tell. I'll try it. This puts them in the spot to have the answer, at least. Jet. And if they play like turn 1 Psychic Frog, I can punish that kind of hard. Okay, Tundra revealed. Thunder Trap Trainer. Okay, so they're in the trap. And I found Stock Up. Okay, Force of Will, a great draw here. Hedge Maze, not a great draw. I am going to fetch for a tropical island to get a land out of my deck, and I'm going to cast Oath of Druids. Bet. If they force this, it might cost them the stock up, and if they just want to play Thundertrap Trainer Gaming, that's fine. If they have a Containment Priest, that's going to be a problem, but it was always going to be. Portable Hole. Okay, that's something that Beseiju can blow out later, and it cost them their stock up. Well, it didn't cost them, but they didn't play it this turn. Yo, alright. That's a powerful card. And they have multiple non-card draw sources of card advantage face up right now. Pyroblast, alright, that was nasty. Off of Mox Ruby. Okay, so they got extra colors here. I didn't even clock that Ruby until it was Pyroblasting me. Not that I would have not cast my spell, but that lined up well for the opponent. This is a deck that I shouldn't really need to go Atraxa Infinite on. If I draw a brick here, I will probably just Gaia's Blessing for the cantrip. 4 cards in hand, hit their land drop. Put me to 17. Force of Will. I like that eventually. Okay, I'm going to play Gaia's Blessing, targeting myself and targeting Narset. If this is worth the Flusterstorm to them, that's fine. I'm literally just trying to cantrip. The world's worst Gataxian Probe. Okay, another Show and Tell, Hedge Maze. Just trying to select, looking for an Atraxa here. Tinker. Alright, Tinker on top. New game plan emerged. Gonna have to Citadel from 16 life. Dump to Volcanic Island. Okay, so they're on something not what I thought it was at all. I don't know anything that's in their hand right now. 4 men in the pool. Paradoxical Outcome. I think I'd like to Force of Will that, because this will, if they have a force, they'll force back over this. Okay, cool. So they force Pitching Force. Even if they redeploy here, I got a counterspell out of their hand. I actually got 2 counterspells out of the hand, and I did it before they were able to pick up 4 cards and maybe represent double force on my turn. But naturally, Pyroblast still sucks my ass. Alright, Tinker. Moment of Truth. Did we sneak through? Absolutely not. Okay. Pass. And they have a Thundertrap Trainer in hand that they can now Offspring if they want. Alright, choosing to leave mana up instead. There is a million IQ play I could have tried last turn, which is to cast Show and Tell, let them Pyroblast it, but I would prefer, like, if I actually did navigate a situation where my spell's going to resolve, I would prefer to do the one that actually wins the game. Okay, this is Lurrus PO, obviously. They did a good job hiding that they weren't Control Lurrus game 1, and this is going to require a completely different sideboard plan. Faster combo decks are always historically Oath's weakness. Ancestral Recall, sure. Wait, you haven't drawn enough cards this turn? You're out of control. You don't even know what's going on. Gataxian Probe, see Show and Tell. Land, Bauble. Bauble. Lotus. Trainer. Stock Up. I'm just trying to see cards in their deck at this point. I have F6'd. Paradoxical Outcome. 17 cards left in their deck. There's the Lingus. Now we know what their win con is. So this is just the Jeskai adjacent PO combo deck. Right, that did not kill me. So I have 1 Hail Mary to draw Atraxa right now and hope that their carefully filtered 7-card hand. Oh, they time walked. I blinked and missed the time walk. All right, you win. I was busy disassociating. Okay, so my sideboard plan was wrong, and we got to fix it. I had the information I had at the time, and Now that information is different. Mana Crypt, Sensei's top, Null Rod's in, Force of Negation's in, Spell Pierce in my sideboard, Preposterous. I think an Oath comes out, and I want to leave Show and Tells. Okay, I'm going to try it like this. I would like to play first. Well, this hand is exciting. I will keep it. This is one of those hands that if they recognize that Black Lotus is the clutch, I could just lose on the spot. All right, cool. This land probably means they won't counter Black Lotus. And the only blue card in their hand is Ancestral Recall, so they're going to be pretty reluctant to pitch that. Okay, blue, Ancestral myself. If they force pitching Ancestral here, I'll resolve Oko, which doesn't really get me anywhere because they have 2 Pyroblasts in hand. They can just clear the Oko. But if my hand's going to be bad, so is yours. Nice. Okay, interesting. Emerald. I could cast Show and Tell. I mean, most of my mana is artifacts, so that's pretty awkward. If I Show and Tell, what if I cast 2 Oaths? Can I do that? I can. I really want them to be worried about my spells, though. Okay, I'm going to fetch Tropical Island, because that's just happening. If I can get them to Force of Will anything this turn, I'm in business. Drop. How do I sequence this mana? All right, Soul Ring would cost me a blue here. Can I play Soul Ring this turn? If I'm going to double Oath, yes. If I'm going to Oko, no. Okay, I think I'm going to double Oath. Okay, Oath of Druids on the stack. Oh, I can't Oko. I can't double Oath and Oko, but I can Oko. Okay, green, Oko. Now they have to Pyroblast Oko. I can't Elk one of my own things to apply pressure because then Oath would trigger. Okay, so they have a handful of options. If they Ancestral, then they can't Pyroblast or Portable Hole. If they Pyroblast, they can't Ancestral. Okay, Oko's dead. We knew that was going to happen. Draw Atraxa. Just draw more Moxen. That's cool too. All right, we might be just turtling out here after that exciting open. I'll play another Oath. Let's overwhelm this Portable Hole at least. Mox Ruby. And I guess I'm going to pass. What a frustratingly durable hand they have. Or what a frustratingly incomplete hand I have. Yeah, there's the Ancestral. Now they're going. Sapphire. Soul Ring. Your boy needs a Forbidden Orchard real quick. Atraxa. Well, they have Heckin' Pyroblast in their hand that we know about. It's face up. All I can do is pass. Stock up. Yeah, this Null Rod is just so devastating to my own game plan right now, even though it is worse against my deck at large. Forbidden Orchard, though, still in my deck somewhere. There's 4 of them. Scalding Tarn can access white for their various white cards, including the Portable Hole we know is in their hand. Portable Hole. So are they going to attack my mana, or are they going to start working on the Oaths? They're working on the Oaths, interesting. So it must still be part of the plan to deploy a creature at some point. All right, yeah, thanks, deck. Another thing that gets bricked by Null Rod. So if I have Oath up to stop the creatures and Null Rod in play, I think I might, but they can start Lurising. All right, let me see if I can flush out Force of Will here. Obviously, this is just like horrendous for me, but I hope it's worse for them to the point that they need to interact with it. Force pitching Lure revealed. All right, we got Force of Will out. That gambit worked. Air quotes worked, meaning their deck is still completely online. Urza Saga. Thundertrap Trainer. Okay, so they must have an answer for my second Oath here, or a Time Walk. Mox Opal. They still have Pyroblast and 2 unknowns over there. All right, the second Portable Hole. Okay. Oh, they targeted my food token. Was that a misclick? Or are they going to PO and replay the Portable Hole? Yeah, they're going to PO. All right. And I didn't even gain 3 life because I was so excited. Okay, so they PO'd and picked up both holes, which means they need 2 white sources to replay both of those. Or they could just not replay their creature this turn and pass with 7 cards in hand, which is probably the plan. I'm getting completely picked apart here. This deck, this Jeskai Luris PO deck, Jeskai adjacent, black splashing for tutors. This deck is awesome, and one of the best decks in the format right now because of its ability to be both a combo deck and a control deck. And Pyroblast is just excellent in the format right now, as we can see. Time Walk, great. So they're going into Urza Saga Chapter 2. They just bobbled me. They know what I'm drawing next. I think I can pretty safely F6. I obviously have nothing here. Black Lotus. And this is one of the weaknesses of Oath. Like we saw even in the same match, the strength of Oath is your one card can win the game on its own. Like when they played that. Is this a lethal 4th Aerolingus? That would be sweet. When they played that random creature. Okay, cool. Dead. And then Oath off the top won the game when I was behind on every other metric. But then here we see the other side of I resolved 2 of the card my deck is named after, and my opponent did not care. At no point in this entire 5 turns of Vintage Magic did they have to think about this or worry about this at all. Okay, 2 and 3, final result. I do really like the Gaia's Blessing and going pseudo-infinite with the oaths when you trigger 2 or 3 oaths in a turn, and every single one of them is going to draw 4 or 5 cards. It's hard to lose those games. But of course, this does suffer from the same problems that Bug Oath suffers from, which is you are a clunky deck that takes multiple turns and opens up windows where your opponent can interact. Like, if your opponent just doesn't play a creature into your Oath, they can ignore that for a while. If they put in something better than yours off of show and tell, in that you can manage with format awareness and situation awareness. But still, it's a concern every time you do it. Every deck in Vintage has powerful cards in it. Not having to navigate a third color is pretty cool, though also not having Underground Sea and Bayou in my deck. There was a match where I was unable to cast Bolas' Citadel, even though I had 6 mana, which is a situation that comes up when you play Oath. I was able to do the flavor text on Flash for fun and profit. Yeah, shoving Atraxa into play is still powerful. Resolving Tinker is still powerful. And doing it in the Oath shell still comes with all the concerns of that. The stock-ups seemed okay. Do I think that 4 stock-ups is better than 3 stock-ups and a Demonic Tutor? The slots are there in the deck. It's just, what does introducing that Underground Sea or that Bayou do to the strategy? Like, Forbidden Orchard doesn't care, and you're playing Mox Jet anyway. Like, what if one of these tropical islands was just Underground Sea? How much worse is the deck? And then we have Demonic Tutor to go with our 3 stock-ups. And then once that door is open, we're starting to move into just traditional Bug Oath. This was fun, but I think clearly the shell needs more thought, and the deck is still sweet. I am not ruling it out for NYSE or the Steel City Spectacular. It's in the range. I am comfortable playing the deck. I know the general matchup strategies across the format. If I just, tighten up on Vintage and don't show and tell myself to death against White Initiative, that sort of thing, we will win more games. Oath is sweet, though. Vintage sweet. Vintage feels awesome right now. John, thank you for sharing this. I'm so excited to play in these upcoming tournaments, and I hope other people are too. They are both 15 proxy. Check out the information in my video description. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.